Hello YouTube and welcome to a new series on the channel here today. Today we're going to be watching the Apothecary Diaries, also known as Kusuriya no Hitorigoto. And of course, as always, we're very glad to be doing so, watching something new on the channel after Hibike Euphonium finished up last week. It was very, very good, by the way. You guys should go and watch Hibike Euphonium from the start through to the end, because it's quite fantastic. Now, I have a lot to say, obviously. Always have a lot to say when I start a new series, of course. The first one I wanted to address was just to, long-time viewers of the channel type people. I've got a new microphone. It should be pretty obvious. It should sound a bit different. This is literally my first time using something like this. It's my first time having, a mic arm. I know you guys can't see it. And, like a dedicated mic. So if I'm doing any faux pas for whatever reason, then please let me know. I'm a noob. If you want to know specific, specs and that kind of thing as well, what microphone it is, I can let you know as well. But I don't want to bore all the new people with that kind of stuff as well. We can talk about that in the nitty gritty as we continue with the series a little bit later. But now I just kind of want to get into the context of me watching this. So there was a poll on the channel. I do democratic polls for my reaction series and what I react to next, and put the results up here. It was relatively close, but yeah, Apothecary Diaries came out on top over what I would classify as a few heavy hitters, definitely some things that have a lot of requests for them. So there is demand here. Put the Mal score for this up here. It's well regarded. People really like this. My understanding of the original source material is that it's extremely popular in Japan as well. So we have that going for it as well. Yeah, it just seems like I want to get in on this. I guess I've been kind of on the sidelines looking at all this hype around this show and not really sure what it even is, and what it's going for. And I want to know. I want to know what all the hubbub is about, I guess. So yeah, again, in summary, I'm very glad it won the poll. I'm very glad that I'm watching it. So whenever I start a new series, there are a few things I like to do. One of such is to get up a list of the staff that have worked on this and some notable names and try to find some trends there, some stuff they've worked on in the past, there's some stuff the studio has worked on in the past that may lead me to have some predictions about what I'm watching here and now, as well as looking at the key visual for the show and kind of making some predictions based on that. I don't want to read any blurbs, any plot little summary things. No, I want to be pretty clean on that stuff. Again, just stuff and that one visual. That's all I want before I go in. And of course the title, which is kind of interesting, I guess. So excuse me, it's about to get a little bit bright in here because I've got ANN up and I don't know how to make ANN dark mode because I'm illiterate with a computer. So I'm going to be very bright now. But hello, the Apothecary Diaries, also known as Kusuriya no Hitorigoto, as I said before. Very good Japanese, me. So yeah, I mean, we'll scroll down here and have a little bit of a look at the staff. I've already had a little bit of a look. It's a weird one to talk about staff-wise, and I think I'll center it mostly around the production studio, as well as a few specific names. I mean, I see one name there already, but we'll talk about that in due time, of course. One of the best voice actresses working, so that's good to start. Hello, Hibiki. But yeah, let's continue here. Let's start with Norihito Naganuma. Norihito Naganuma. Sure, let's do that. So I think the most notable thing that he has done here is the first thing on the list. Not the entire page, but that thing. Hello, the Ancient Magus Bride. Now, I haven't seen this, but as I understand tonally, it's fitting a lot with what I perceive Apothecary Diaries to be, I think, right? Now, what would we classify Ancient Magus Bride as? It's not quite a shoujo, but it's directed towards women. Is it a josei? Let me look this up. I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but sure. No, weird. The demographic for it says is shonen. Okay, that's not the vibe I got off of it at all. But then again, anime demographics like that are never what you really think they are. Either way, I'm going on a bit of a tangent early. Listen, I see some connections with what I think this show is going to be about versus Ancient Magus Bride. That's all I really wanted to get across there. I've had a little bit more of a look through here, and there's nothing that's really, really standing out to me. Like, the only other real chief director thing that I see that I'd even recognize is Yowamushi Pedal, a film there, which are generally well regarded, even though I have no interest in the subject matter at all. That's, hey, sure, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Other than that, a fair bit of stuff that's pretty recent, I would say, just in general. We're not really going back a long way. How old are you? Do you tell me? You don't tell me. Okay. I'd imagine you're relatively new, if I was to guess. Nah, Kimi ni Toroke, maybe not. Anyway, he's not like 60, I don't think. Let's put it that way. Either way, back here. And then it's hard to talk about script. Oh, anyway, I should say that was series comp and director, of course. But it's hard to talk about script and storyboard considering they're shared between so many people between episodes, right? And that's where I think it'll be a little bit easier to talk about OLM and Toho, which I believe are the production studio people. A little bit more as a whole to get a little bit more of a grasp on what we're doing. I did notice one here that this isn't China, but we may talk about China here in a minute as well. I'm imagining this is China, and that is a pretty well-regarded animator that's kind of blowing up at the moment, which is cool as well. Yeah, specifically episode directing, episode 4 as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that one, maybe a little bit of a production set-piece type thing. From there, it's, again, hard to talk about certain things. I guess I could talk about art director in Katsumi Takeo. Like, it's just shared between so many people and so many roles. Yeah, I mean, that's a good jumping off point. OLM is responsible for most of the Pokemon stuff. So that makes sense that they're getting the art director for a lot of the Pokemon stuff to work on this. I'm imagining if I see certain people, they may look like the newer Pokemon anime stuff, at least a little bit, if the art director is that similar. Other than that, I'm not seeing a whole lot. But that doesn't mean there isn't anything there, of course. I mean, do I need to talk about Aoi Yuki? Amazing, incredible. I listen. I know what a Mau Mau is. I know what she looks like. She's on the poster. So like, we'll get into that. So I'll be able to tell you that. I'm imagining it's Mau Mau, like a cat. So that may be a vibe as well. We'll say. But yeah, I mean, you've just got the protagonist voice person who's amazing at doing that protagonist voice. So I'm looking forward to that. Good at being flustered, good at sounding confident in all the scenes that she needs to sound confident as well. Very, very much looking forward to seeing her work here in this new show. Also, obligatory, you guys should watch Symphogear moment. You guys should watch Symphogear, it's very good. What else should I talk about? I don't really recognize any of the other voice actors, obviously trying not to look at names, but I don't see how it would be a spoiler here at this moment either way. Let's talk about studio. Let's go there. That'll be the next thing I'll do. It skews the setup, but it always gets a little bit weird when I move over to Mal. It isn't as nice in my stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling. This is OLM. OLM's a little bit of an enigma, I would call them, because you're looking through here and it's like, okay, well, those are some pretty good damn shows. Look at those Mal scores. Like honestly, that's pretty damn good. I mostly associate them again with Pokemon and with Komi, so it's a little bit of a weird thing. I honestly had no idea they were the people that did Summertime Rendering, so another good show, by the way. You guys should watch that. Odd Taxi, I watched like half of and then got confused, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It means that I was confused. Yeah, but I mean, mostly Pokemon. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon there, is my point. Let's sort by members. Any, like, really popular things? No, nothing other than Komi. I guess I should talk about Komi slightly. I think the Komi adaptation is good. It looks good. It's animated well. I especially like the openings and endings and that kind of thing, right? Well, they even did Nagatoro. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. I just think that Komi works better in a manga format. I don't like it in the anime format like that, because in the manga you can kind of control your own pace, where I think the pacing kind of suffers a little bit when you're kind of forced to watch the anime at its speed, if that makes any sense. But either way, I'm not really grasping much there other than their shows look nice. I guess you could kind of lean towards they've got a certain sheen on their stuff. Definitely seems like they're not harkening back to the classics, like say a Trigger or anybody like that. It's a little bit more of that shiny, newer looking A1 Productions type anime style, I guess. And Toho Animation Studio Anime, I don't know what the hell this even is, but I'd imagine this is more a production company. Obviously, they've just kind of did that. And a little Freerin short, which is weird that the two are associated, but also shoutouts to Freerin because it's quite good. So I don't know, weird one. I'm imagining Toho's just funding it. That would make sense to me. And it's Toho, not Toho. That's something else. Anyway, what I wanted to do quickly is also translate the title, because I always find that that's a good thing to do, of course. Move that slightly. So first word I translated was kusuria, which is pretty obvious. It just means apothecary. So yeah, shocker, Apothecary Diaries has apothecary in the name somewhere. But the interesting one here for me is hitorigoto. Now, hitorigoto is also I'm lonely. Isn't that very similar? Anyway, I think that they're one and the same because this means like soliloquy. One talking to oneself, one speaking to the audience. Very Shakespearean almost. Different vibe to diary, in my opinion. I obviously think Apothecary Diaries is a catchier name than the Apothecary's soliloquy, but I wouldn't imagine there's a physical diary, because physical diary is like Nikki, correct? I would imagine so, yes. So I don't think that there's going to be a physical diary. It's a diary in the sense of we're talking to ourselves and hence the audience. We're being clued into somebody's internal dialogue. That's where I think the title is coming from, which is interesting. I won't expect to see a diary as a result. That's kind of the vibe there, I guess. The last thing I wanted to look at here as well is the key visual. I don't think I can overly glean much, but it's a good jumping off point to talk about what I know about the show before we go into it. I know it's based in China. I believe it's a Chinese court type situation. So nothing that I have a lot of experience with. I'm not going to be bringing any insights from that perspective, I guess. But I mean, it'll be interesting for a bit of a setting change from a lot of the Japanese-based stuff that comes along with anime. It'll be interesting to learn almost a different set of traditions there, maybe. Even though, again, that history is kind of crossing over a lot. There's a lot of history between China and Japan, I'll tell you that. Maybe we can talk about a few aesthetic senses here. One, I'm seeing a lot of color. I'm imagining it's going to be a very colorful show. You could almost say very opulent based on the costuming. I'm wondering how an apothecary gets involved in such a grand situation. Are they a court type person? Are they important to royalty adjacent people? Again, people in power. Is that how we're getting there? Are you two related? You could be related because you both have like the same hairstyle almost, but I wouldn't imagine so. Maybe, I don't know. Are we gonna get pretty boys? He's a pretty boy. Yeah, is that the vibe? Direction stuff, I guess. A lot of blown out light, a lot of light reflections. Again, shiny, pretty, new. Could be something, I don't know. Like the colors and patterns here, of course, as well. The sun beaming through. Maybe we could even talk to some light and darkness metaphors as we continue. What else? You were looking inquisitive. You were also Mau Mau. Hello, Mau Mau. Cat girl. Yeah, so she's trying to figure something out. I guess I should talk about expectations of genre as well. I think it's a mystery. I think we will see. It's a mystery or a drama. It's one of the two. But again, outside of that, I don't really know. I'm kind of just guessing, which is half the fun, I guess, as well. If I had to talk about character quirks, you look almost quiet and reserved, but also you're played by Aoyuki, so maybe not. And yeah, you look Bishonen, aloof almost, maybe. Soft boy. I don't know, we'll see. And yeah, I guess that's enough rambling about what I think will happen and that kind of thing. A few more logistical things about the channel. So again, if this is one of your first videos of mine, hello, hi, welcome. I'd like to go back through the episodes after the fact and have a pretty good discussion about what they're trying to say and that kind of thing. So if you like that kind of thing, then stick around. I have a Patreon. That Patreon will be 1 week ahead. Being that 1 week ahead will give you access to the YouTube comments where you can tell me various things, pieces of trivia, so forth, that kind of thing. So again, available to you if you want such a thing. I'll try to go at a pace of mainly 2 episodes a week, but again, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's really dense like something like Utena or not. We'll see. I touched the mic slightly, sorry. And yeah, I mean, other than that, there isn't really much to say. There'll be a picture-in-picture in the description below, and I don't really know about the sub situation, so I've just kind of picked the first one that I saw. If I need to change anything, please let me know. I should do the Patreon shout out, of course. Again, as I said before, you can be that 1 week ahead on Patreon. Many people have done this, up to and including Annie Gregg, Mickey Babbers, Trails Plus Plus, Adley, Anders Harlan, Bobbin, Chobo Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Fleur Nightingale, Fruit, Funny Fat Guy, Gloriana Tenebrae, Gus N, Heath, Hex, Ika, Yako Yavanen, Joran, Kate Linner 10,000, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Madlad, Max, Mish, Nick, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Pseudonym Van Dyke, Ramen Boy, Ron Lad BNK, Saint Lily, Sam1373, Skeleton, Surrogate Corpse, Without a Net, Zach, Binshi, Hans Peter, Kelvin, Marsh, Aidan O'Brien, Jacob R, and Ron Tiki. So thank you to all those people for giving me money. I like the money. And yeah, let's watch this sucker. Let's jump right into that new episode, of course. You can join the Discord and discuss this kind of stuff with me as well. Any kind of anime thing. I don't know. Let's jump in. I've kind of run out of things to say, and I'm kind of delaying the inevitable. So yeah, the first episode of the Apothecary Diaries coming right up. Rightio, I have episode 1 of the Apothecary Diaries up there ready to go. 22 minutes and 52 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. There'll be this little piece of the video down here for your syncing purposes, of course. If you can't do that for whatever reason, or you're on mobile, or whatever other reason really, there's a picture-in-picture version in the description below. I host it on BitChute. The quality's kinda arse, but it's there if you want it, basically. It's kind of the vibe for it. So yeah, let's jump into this thing, I guess. No more delaying. I'm still getting used to this, by the way. So if it sounds weird, I apologize. I'll try to fix it in post. Either way, let's give this thing a 3, 2, 1. Rightio. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, okay. Straight into an opening, I guess. Okay, sounds cool. Kind of funky. And I'm recording, which is always good. Or funky's the wrong word. You know what I mean. Flowers. This isn't the vibe I thought at all. Yeah, very fast-paced. A lot of flowers. There is a character, that's good. 2 sides. Light and dark. I like the freckles, I say that to start. What's that on the arm? Gorgeous. Bit of a dance vibe. Okay. Interesting. Duality is what I'm getting from that. Okay. Thanks for the disclaimer. I didn't think I needed it. Yeah. Some kind of apothecary or something. What? Okay, I'll be careful and make sure not to get kidnapped. Okay. Okay. I'm gathering information. Verdigris house? Is that what that said? Neuron activation? Love the soundtrack. Pyrin? Nechun like Nechun? I don't think it will. I don't think I'm working with explosives. I don't think Mau Mau's old enough to be doing that. I hope not, anyway. Yeah, she is very sleazy. Okay. Being pursued by two people. The flowers are very pretty, and there's a cat thing coming through. Okay, this spells trouble. You're gonna get kidnapped? Yeah, remember that weird flash forward before? Interesting. That reminds me of In This Corner of the World. That starts with somebody getting kidnapped, so to say, in a big basket as well. Big basket full of kids. Childbirth, sure. Yep, that sure looks like a baby. Okay. 3 months later. What's the go with you? What's 3 months have passed for you as well? Gotcha. So you're outside of your normal place. So it's like you got kidnapped to be. I see. Yeah, and that's what. Yep, a eunuch, right? Yeah, so kidnapped to be like a servant at the back of the palace. Hey, you're getting paid. It's better than slavery. Who the hell are you? She's already an expert. Let's go. Oh, because you can read. Mm hmm. Yeah. How old is Mau Mau? That's a big question for me right now. Yeah, just play your role for now. Okay, yeah, maybe she is old enough then. We love a pretty eunuch. Well, I'd imagine he's the guy on the poster. Pretty boy. That would be him. Look at those lips and those eyes. You can get lost in them. Hello, baby. What's wrong with the baby? Do we potentially need an apothecary to help? What, she has like the baby? Or she has like the mother? The baby looked like a he. If only there was somebody with the skills to help. I don't think it's a curse. Hmm. That's a pattern. Thank you for the exposition. That's nice. Hmm. Yeah, is it a power struggle or is there something else happening? I wonder. Okay, that's a set of symptoms. You can work with that. Yeah, look, she's got a thinking face on. I believe in science, damn it. Yeah, they're both of them, huh? Yeah, they're both really unwell. Hmm. Well, hereditary. It's your personal interest. Go check it out. Somebody just got slapped? Jinshi? Some kind of quack. I'm interested. I want to see what this is. What? Why did you turn around? A lot of flowers. Somebody's going to be going crazy on the Hanakotoba. Oh, is there a message written on the flower? No, it didn't want it. Are you stupid? She just didn't realize. Like, why would you think there would be a message there? Are you crying because something has occurred? Because that's terrible. I hope not. Yeah, okay, gotcha. That's terrible. What is that? The powder is poison. Ooh, cool shot. Oh, so that's what you heard and then kind of caught that piece of info. That's where you turned before. Gotcha. Okay. He's got those eyes, though, doesn't he? He really does. You're in trouble. Principal's office. Oh, it's a certain. There's like a character quirk while we're getting all these people. It's like a lineup. You know, like you're investigating. You're looking for all the people that meet a description. Oh, pretty boy. Oh no. Yeah. Oh, because she can read. Gotcha. That's pretty smart. I liked that. Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Don't touch me. Just lie. Potentially. I don't think they're gonna kill you. I think it's the opposite. Baby looks happy. Yeah. Sucks for the other lady. Li Hao or whatever it was. Li Hua? I'm gonna struggle with the names, I feel. Nah, we figured it out. We're pretty switched on. Potentially. Ooh. Rhododendron. I like the sun here too. I see. Okay. Interesting. And bandaging up her little arm too. And obviously she's dealing with the baby. So then the baby gets sick as well. Or did the baby just eat it? Because babies just eat things. That'd be bad too. Yeah, the mistrust was already there. I think. No, we're here to thank you, I think. Oh, or get promoted. That works too. What's wrong? Oh, you just wanted to do your time, then get out. I accidentally got promoted. Help. I don't want to be a middle manager. Lee. Okay, we're on the battlefront. And that guy just fucking everyone's dropping dead? Okay, another poisoning incident. And an ending. Interesting. So maybe I'll just let the ED play before I wax lyrical. I'm intrigued, but also it's very different to other shows I've watched recently. So I need to kind of get used to that. And I'll talk about a couple of things there as well. I think, yeah, we're leaning mystery, which is cool. I'm just waiting for the more involved ones with more characters that I know. It's kind of just the hook getting us in, I guess. I'll say Aoi Yuki, pretty understated performance thus far. Still obviously very good, but once she grows in confidence and investment in what's going on, we'll see that shine through a little bit more as well. Seems like a pretty simple little ED as well. I don't have lyrics for either song as well, so if somebody wanted to provide me with those as well, or a version that has them, that'd be great. Only if the lyrics are relevant, of course. But yeah, this ED is comfy. It's definitely a flower thing going on. I guess it comes with the Apothecary territory. And next time ons? Sure. A little bit more involved, looks like. Yeah. Chilly. And yeah, we'll jump into a little bit of analysis on episode 1 of the Apothecary Diaries, coming right up. So, that was episode 1 of the Apothecary Diaries, and what did I think? It was good. I thought it was good. And I guess that's going to be the basis of a lot of the conversation. Is I neglected to mention that this is a light novel adaptation, and that's very different, obviously, than a manga adaptation, than something else. Blah 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 blah. Will take a little bit more time to get to the meat of what we're trying to do here. This really just served as an introduction and getting us into the world and a few characters and that kind of thing. We're in for the long haul, and I guess that's kind of what I needed to, consider before going into this show. Again, contrast it with a manga where you'll need like a one-shot first chapter, which is really going to blow your socks off, right, and really hook you in, because again, you're reading weekly. It's not one piece of fiction you have in front of you just ready to read and get the full breadth of. You need to be invested immediately. But as a result, manga adaptations often feel quite stilted because they are generally for a different format. You need to generally use some element of adaptation to make it flow a little bit better in a 24 minute anime episode format. So yeah, I guess we need to consider this and consider it against other light novel adaptations that well regarded, that kind of thing. I don't know, Monogatari's light novels took you a little while. It'd be interesting to see if people were into the first episode of Bakemonogatari beyond the production stuff, based off just the initial premise. Just, hey, this girl's really light. She doesn't weigh very much. Spoilers for Monogatari, I guess. But that's really the gist of the first episode, is us trying to figure that out, and the first little arc there. It only becomes interesting once subsequent things get placed upon it and that kind of thing, right? Very early in the show, basically for the first 5 minutes, it felt a little bit information overloady. It felt like I was meeting a lot of people very quickly and getting used to setting very quickly, learning a lot of information. And it'll be interesting to go back through it and try to confirm it against some of the other stuff I learned later in the episode and try to, I guess, figure out where things are going from there. It's also different from the shows I'm watching at the moment, and again, this is just kind of really unfair, but it's definitely the worst looking of the bunch, I would say. Both, I would say, fidelity-wise, but again, that could be based on my copy, as well as art design, animation, that kind of vibe. It's definitely there, it's definitely good enough, and will definitely have pop-off moments, and it definitely is pretty. I wouldn't say that any information is lost in the directing style, but I mean, we're comparing it against, like, Kyoto Animation's newest thing, which I just reacted to, which blew my mind. It was incredibly good looking. Trigger comes with all that kind of stuff with Dungeon Meshi, all that Trigger goodness that I'm loving at the moment, and a literal classic in Utena. Like, you can't compete against Utena, let's be real. But again, I must remind myself, it is just the first episode. There's definitely room for this show to grow. Theming wise, it looks like we're exploring gender somewhat. Maybe mainly gender within this society, and the roles of women and the roles of men, and how we can compare and contrast those. And I guess moving into what it seems like is happening next is there's going to be some warrior types contrasted against the eunuchs that occupy the rear palace, I believe it was called. So we could kind of start to talk about that a little bit as well. Obviously, it seems like some kind of, not quite brothel, but kind of, sort of, you know what I mean. So we're contrasting that against the character of Mao Mao with, like, childbirth and motherly stuff between the two competing ladies this episode as well. That's definitely a theme we're going for. I'll say that as well. If any of you Hanakotoba nerds as well could help me out with the flower language stuff and what we're trying to say there. I'm not going to go through all these flowers right here in the opening, because I feel like that'll be a little bit much. Maybe it'll come up a little bit more organically in the plot, but I will definitely look up the specific flower with the message tied to it later in the episode. Either way, I've rambled long enough. I'll go back through the opening and note a few things, and then we'll just kind of run the episode back again and try to learn some more information. Seems very wordy as well, could have easily missed some important stuff. One, I would say the decision to start the episode with the opening is an interesting one. Especially, okay, so when I saw, like, kind of vibe, premise, even some of the stuff, I was thinking Heike Monogatari. I wasn't expecting a kind of high-tempo opening with a dance sequence almost. That's very different. If you haven't seen Heike I would recommend it. Very, very much so. But in contrast to this, starts very, very slow, starts very contemplative, starts very Naoko Yamada, where again, this is just like, we're straight in. TV anime time, baby. Again, a little bit of a different than what I thought it would have been. The song is kind of a banger though, so that's good. Visual in the opening, we've got the two sides of Mao Mao. She seems to have one side that comes through sometimes. I'll talk about it in the penultimate scene of the episode, where the kind of the light appears behind her, the sun appears behind her, and then she kind of changes her tact. I think one side of her is very sheepish and just wants to get things done, and then another side of her is really drawn in by the study of Apothecary and the everything else going on. She seems like she's nonchalant at the moment. She just kind of wants to get in and get out. I don't really know the logistics of how she got there in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. We'll go through it again. But it seems like she wants to do her time, then leave. Potentially that'll be contrasted with another version of herself that wants to, I guess, be more involved a little bit later on. Kind of grasping onto that light there as well. I've got this talent within me. Maybe I grasp onto it. Oh, Kevin Penkin? Seriously? The music was really nice. Okay, sure. I didn't know that. Sure. It pays to read the credits sometimes, for sure. The other interesting thing about Mao Mao is this. What would you call it? Is it a disease? Is it a birthmark? Again, this may be just me absolutely spitballing here, but I'm foreseeing something like, okay, she seemingly has associations with other women that were consorts, I think we described them as. Maybe she was initially pegged to be in a similar role. Some guys saw the birthmark, they didn't like it. Instead, she became apothecary. And it's kind of interesting that this birthmark could be seen as a curse. She is notably hiding it. But when she's working later on in the episode. Again, hiding the birthmark versus embracing it. What does that mean? We'll say. Or it could be something for a sickness, something reason for being an apothecary. It's interesting to note. It's also quite pretty. I like the colors on it. And again, two sides. Now she's quite quaint early in this opening. She's dolled up now, and then she gets the fancy clothes on, and then the star dress. She starts, it starts off quaint. It starts off a little bit understated, but then we get dolled up and that kind of thing. Two sides of Mao Mao. Notably, the opening isn't a traditional anime opening. We're only really focused on the one character here, as opposed to, other openings where you just pander all the different characters and show what they're doing, or a little bit of setting, a little bit of something else. It seems very internally focused. Again, if you wanted a more obvious version of the contrast, there it is as well, between the old Mao Mao and potentially the new one as we continue. I'd imagine this thing is in cause and we'll have two different openings. That's what I would think. Because there's 24 episodes total. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Another note as well, she has her freckles here and maybe is wearing some makeup there because she doesn't have the freckles. So hiding that other unique identifying factor as it pertains to her, I guess. And then we have Jinchi, I believe his name is as well. We'll talk about him. He's a eunuch, which is cool. Has his penis chopped off. Cool stuff. Like it. Starts with a big old disclaimer. I wonder if this is a China thing. Maybe. We'll see. China gets a little bit weird about that kind of stuff. I'm just saying it because I haven't seen this kind of disclaimer before. First image we see, of course, as well, is of a flower. Almost like a daffodil in a field of clover. The sun beaming down on it. Two daffodils almost as well. May become relevant as we continue. Obviously, again, a lot of these flowers are just linking to the apothecary idea as well. We're using different herbs and stuff to make drugs. A few interesting things to note early as well. One, who is this man? That is old man. That is OG. And then we get a small flash there of the kidnapping, right? That will occur later on. I wonder how that's framed in the novel. That'll be interesting. I guess just as he mentions a lot of women are getting kidnapped recently, watch out. It seems like you're working for him. I don't know if there's a familial connection. OG wouldn't be something you would call your own father, though. So I wouldn't imagine this is dad. Maybe it's just somebody I work for. We'll say. But either way, we're off to deliver some drugs to the Verdigris house, I believe it was called, which seems to be this place where I think there was Pi something, whatever her name was. It seems like she has some kind of association there. Something she normally does is drop off drugs, that kind of thing. Then we get a lot of wides, a lot of sweeping shots here as we kind of introduce the setting, so to speak, where I guess this would then establish setting a little bit more, you know, if you weren't already aware. A lot of information very quickly. We see a bunch of lads looking at the Verdigris house, pointing towards it, where we see the granny from later on, she'll come back, bargaining with old mate, who seems like are they paying for entry? Is that what's going on? Are they paying a fee to, I guess, talk with the women or that kind of vibe? Talk, you know, or anything else. Yeah, don't look without paying. Yeah, okay, so, again, brothel's a bad word, but is it just a brothel? And obviously they know Mau Mau. Mau Mau just walks straight through and goes and kind of delivers the stuff, makes the stuff, that kind of vibe. It seems like she uses this place as somewhat of a base as well, and is kind of trying to heal a little thing. Maybe it is more of a wound than a birthmark then. But is that even on the right arm? I thought it was the other arm. Anyway, maybe I'm just wrong. They're experiments for my medicine, is what she says. So it seems like she's continually working on her arm, trying to find different things, and maybe they're hurting her in the process of testing on herself. Something like that. Either way, then we make boob joke. We love a good boob joke here, folks. Are you eating properly? Again, contrasted against somebody that at least has been drinking a lot of milk. I'll give you that one. Here we use the word courtesan. Let me look at what a courtesan is. A prostitute with wealthy or upper class clients. There you go. Hello, courtesan. So yeah, again, and I don't think that's kind of Mau Mau's vibe. I don't think she's the courtesan type. But again, it automatically builds contrast there between her role and the role of others. We see here that she's well known around the house, which is cool. Maybe these are characters that will come back into the plot later. They seemingly do have designs, some of them associated with flowers as well, all very pretty. But we also know that she's well known around the house because she gave that piece of advice around the white powder previously. So, you know, she's helped out here in this place, in this house, and now she's translating those similar talents to to royalty almost, you know. Granny is a little bit sleazy trying to get her to become a courtesan, of course, and now Mau Mau gets fucking kidnapped because she goes looking for flowers. Here's the vibe as well with the cat ears. I wonder if this is a thing we're going to continue with. We seemingly are going to this chibi style quite a lot, to build contrast, always, right? Like, when she's feeling a certain kind of way, or there's a comedic bend to the scene or the interaction, maybe even a straight man kind of, what's the dynamic with the crazy one and the straight man? When that kind of thing's going on as well, you have the chibi art style. I don't mind it. It's a little bit tropey, but it's cool. So either way, I guess it goes to show that she was just kind of collecting supplies on the way home, didn't heed the old man's warning, and now just got kidnapped. Old man will worry about me. So that's another one of my questions, right? She seemingly had a lot of relations outside of, the palace. Are they asking after her? Do they want to know where she is? Or did they just assume that she got kidnapped? I don't know. It'd be a weird one in how we adapt that to how society would treat such a thing. Or is she potentially allowed to send a letter that's like, hey, I'm here, I'm safe, it'll be 2 years. Either way, then we learn information very, very quickly from here. Months pass in a blink of an eye. You have to bring up another unfortunate piece of a contrast here between the courtesans and then the royalty, right? Is there... Yeah. It both seems like they're being used politically. Women are being used in both ways, I guess. Am I making any sense? Is there that much of a difference between the two outside of class structure, right? Both parties are just kind of operating on male whims, so to say. Again, I'm sure this will be explored more as we continue with the series. I wanted to pause here as well because we've got a little bit of snow on the flower, almost white powder as well, and then from there we go straight into childbirth. Seems like a Liha summer is what we're going with. So Lady Liha. She gives birth to a baby boy, right? And he's the Eastern Palace heir. I'm sure this will, again, become more relevant as we expand scope as we continue. So yeah, perfectly healthy baby boy, born without issues, and then we go over and talk to Lady, whatever your name was. Either way, building immediate contrast between the two. I should get a name for her though. Let me see if it's on ANN. Gyokyo? Gyokyo. Something like that. Liha and Gyokyo. Gyokyo. I'm really struggling with that one. Gyokyo. Gyokuyo. Gyokyo. Gyokyo. Gotcha. Either way, 3 months have passed. 1 quarter, 1 season. Either way, we've cut back to Mao Mao. It's been 3 months. She's been here. She's wondering how the old man is doing and missing her old life somewhat. She doesn't even really know the context in why she's here as well. She's just kind of doing it. She's just kind of going with the flow. Yeah, okay. I'm not grasping at straws here. Palace and the Pleasure District are not that different. We'll keep it in mind, eh? We'll keep it in mind. Again, I guess one of the major character traits for Mao Mao right now is how, like, she wants to remain anonymous and just kind of go with the flow. Like, oh, well, I would have preferred to be where I was in as apothecary, but I guess this'll do. At least externally to the audience, she doesn't seem to miss what she was doing that much right now. And from here we get, this episode has a lot of exposition, and I think it's pretty well done, but it is a little bit just heavy on it overall. But let's learn some things here regardless. The rear palace is an all-female area for giving birth to the emperor's child. Men are forbidden. The only people who can enter here are high nobility and their blood relations, as well as the help as well. Other than that, the only other men allowed here are eunuchs. Obviously, so, okay, so emperor's up the top, emperor's having sex with a lot of ladies, right? The ladies go to places and have their children, right? Something power struggle occurs from there. Something baby is very important, in so much as it's their child, but also as a ticket to gain more power. Gotcha. So I'm not quite sure I understand this. Okay, so they work people to the bone. We say here that it wouldn't be a surprise if certain people just drop dead from work and that kind of thing. If they die, they die. They don't get the similar treatment to the higher class people, obviously, right? But we still get paid a salary, so they're not slaves. They're still working for something. They will get paid eventually and even get to go at a certain point. But it's just while they're here, they're working super hard. Maybe something like that. Either way, from here we meet a new character. Now, you had a name. It was like Zhao something. Zhao, something like that. She can't read, and she's also used as a device here to demonstrate that many people can't read, something that'll become relevant later in the episode. A couple of more things. Again, it's very information overload. One, she doesn't want to let people know that she can read and write, because that just means that her kidnappers will take a larger portion of her pay. I guess they're paid per fucking slave they capture, maidservant they capture. I guess that's the vibe. The other thing here is, hey, it is possible to be promoted from what I am right now as a maidservant to a low-ranking consort, but it's normally based around looks, right? Again, contrasting Mao Mao's looks versus the looks of other low-ranking consorts, something that I'm sure will come up again. She doesn't see a future in that for herself based on her figure and her freckles and maybe even her birthmark thing. The final piece of context here during this information overload is that, hey, I can leave in 2 years. Essentially, you do your service and then they can let you go, right? And then she wants the drink, which again, it becomes relatable. I had question marks about her age. It seems like she is of age. She's just smaller build. That's the idea, I guess. We have a small scene here introducing Jinshi. He is a very good-looking eunuch that is in the area. I think we describe him as the manager of the maidservants of the rear palace. Something like that a little bit later on, but we will reconvene on that point when it comes up. We kind of mention him in the dialogue and then show him straight away talking with Lady Liha. So baby is unwell, mother is unwell. We're building kind of a mystery element to it. We figure it out by the very end. It's the white powder, everybody. In a similar way, we have Lady Gokyo here and her child. Lin something, I reckon it was. Anyway, we'll get back to it. She's unwell as well. There's a mystery afoot, and it may even be a curse. Zhao Lin is what we called her. She had a different name later. Anyway, weird. Oh, this is an interesting piece of context as well. So we have the physician, right? He is prioritizing the Eastern Palace first. He is prioritizing Liha over Gyokyo. Something that, again, there seems to be a little bit of rivalry here, right? Again, these are both children of the emperor. Correct me if I'm wrong. So there would be rivalry there. Am I wrong there? Am I right? Where you would be a mid-ranking kind of consort as opposed to Liha, who's a little bit higher strung, higher on the rungs of society. No, Princess Lingli and the Eastern Palace. Those are the two contrasts. Okay. I think that's what it is with the episode thus far. There is little slices of character, but it is very story. It's very exposition. So even now we have... It's characterful, right? But we have Xiaolan essentially explaining stuff to us, right? They're the Emperor's babies. There's been babies before. Those babies have died very young. What's the cause? We don't know. It could be a curse. Both of the ladies that we've seen thus far have doctors currently in their houses. The current emperor has no empress, so Lady Liha, who gave birth to the Eastern Palace, will be empress. Gotcha. So it's very important that this baby stays alive, both because, hey, it's my baby, but also it's my ticket to power. As I've said that before. That's now confirmed. That's good. But however, the rumor is that the emperor's favorite, maybe because of her looks, maybe because of something else, is actually Lady Gyokyo. And again, talking to this rivalry between the two ladies as we continue. Either way, this entire time, Mao Mao couldn't care less. She's just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Doesn't sound that interesting. Just sounds like some kind of political power squabble. But then, of course, gets a little bit interested once she hears about the symptoms, right? Headaches, stomach aches, nausea. Where have I heard this before? But again, it's almost like that one side of her is dragging her in, as opposed to another side of her that wants to stay nonchalant and stay out of it. Despite herself, Mao Mao continues to say possible, I guess, reasons why these symptoms would occur. You wouldn't really poison the princess. That doesn't make any sense, right? You would poison the guy in power. You would poison the emperor if you wanted the power. Like, it wouldn't make any sense to poison... You know what I mean? Like, that wouldn't make any sense at all. Why would you do that? Okay, then it could be something else. Could be a weird illness. Maybe not. Okay, could be in their blood. I don't know, maybe. Catches herself. Why am I getting so interested here? Stars in the eyes, chibi look. Oh, maybe I can just give it a little bit of a glance once or twice. She's interested. This is her passion. This little thought prompts Mao Mao to enter a little bit more of the highfalutin part of town. Pretty classy, where we see that Lady Liha's condition has worsened. She's fucking really, really thin, right? And slaps Lady Gokyo. We see here that, that rivalry is definitely very much here, right? Because you gave birth to a girl, you intend to curse my son to death, because the son would then have more power. The son... Yeah, because the emperor would need an heir, right? And then she's already the one with the most claim based on the Eastern Palace, if I'm correct there. Then she's in a really good spot, despite what the emperor might prefer as a partner, right? Lady Gokyo had a girl, not as good, and now you think that she cursed you because you had the son. And yeah, fair enough, that is impossible. Magic doesn't exist, at least not yet in this world. Lady Gokyo brings up that the physician has really been favoring one client here as opposed to visiting, the other one with the exact same condition, basically. And Mao Mao's like, this guy's fucking stupid. He's been looking at them every day and he hasn't figured it out yet. Does he know? He doesn't know. Oh my god. From this point on, Mao Mao just kind of figures it out and is trying to figure out a way to tell them, right? She can't really walk up to them with no... She wants to stay hidden. She wants to stay in the shadows, that kind of thing, right? Nonchalant, just do her thing. But obviously some part of her still wants to help. So how am I going to let them know? I need to leave them a message. She says here aloud, and this wasn't caught by me, but she says aloud, I need something to write with. This surprises Jinshi. He turns around, he doesn't see anybody. This will become relevant later. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Lady Liha ignoring the flower with the message on it, which seems to be... That's fucking stupid. Just kind of pushes it off. It's clearly placed there for a reason. At least give it a read. Like, that was her, though. Was it? She didn't look quite as thin. Is that... Or was that somebody within her camp that pushed that off, that didn't read it? Because if not, like, I feel bad, obviously. Dead kid and all. But also, you had the tools there and you just kind of brushed it off a windowsill. That wasn't very smart. Obviously, there you have the big dramatic pathetic fallacy with the rain falling and the death of the child, the death of the emperor's heir, all that kind of stuff. Almost Shakespearean. I don't want to be too mean because I haven't seen much of the character yet, but I think it speaks volumes that she was crying to herself instead of, looking upon the child. The child was a means to an end. I'm crying because I didn't get what I wanted. Again, maybe very, very mean, maybe very, very early to be making such accusations about characters. I don't know. She doesn't seem like a good guy, is my point. It seems that Lady Liha and Lady Gokyo had similar messages given. Lady Gokyo was the one that read the message, thus reaped the benefits, followed it, now the baby's fine. Good. It was tied to a rhododendron, which is a type of flower, potentially? Okay, I mean, this one seems pretty simple. It means a warning sign. Caution or danger. You should heed a warning if you see this flower, which isn't what was done. It is also a symbol of riches and prosperity, and of kissing your dreams with the energy of unwavering belief and faith, which seems very wordy, that last part, but riches and prosperity work as well. The plant itself contains toxins, so again, as a symbol of a poisoning that's occurring. Makes sense. Okay, sure. The message read, the powder is poison, don't let the baby touch it, ignorance is sin. Maybe certain somebody was ignorant. We think about it for a second. Okay, well, the court physician wouldn't have been so sneaky. And also, he didn't deal with the one at the Eastern Palace. So what gives? Who gave you this piece of information? Jinchi is on the case. He thinks back to it, remembers a certain somebody saying this line, and then obviously a written message shows up later. That's an identifying factor. That is a clue in our investigation. Character design-wise, you're very pretty boy. You seem very important. I'm sure we'll learn about your specific ties to various people later on. Notably, you're a eunuch. Why is somebody a eunuch? Why do they become a eunuch as opposed to people with a penis? Like, what makes somebody a eunuch in this society? I'm interested to learn. Like, I mean, that's one of the most exciting things about this series to me, is I'm going to learn a lot about a different culture as well. Again, I don't know about historical accuracy, but you'd have to imagine it's pretty good. Zhao Lan continues to be here with a lot of information, which is nice. The Emperor is now visiting Lady Gokyo a little bit more than the other one because of one's got an alive kid. Either way, Mao Mao gets called out. She's to go with a group of people that fit a certain description and go to the court of the maid services something. Another thing to note as well, she's the only one with this stitching in her, I guess you would call it a skirt. This is part of the stitching she used to write the message. So again, another identifying factor for a keen eye to look for. Yeah, they notice it about her without her noticing it. So they're pretty sure that she's the one. Interestingly enough, Mao Mao initially mistakes Jinchi for a bossy palace woman, as is his, I guess, Bishonen type looks. An interesting thing to follow, talking a lot about gender roles and stuff in the show thus far. Interesting first observation. It seems like Mao Mao agrees with the crowd that he's pretty, but more thinks like, hey, it's a shame that he's a eunuch, that he can't spread this prettiness around. Interesting one to watch. We'll see how the relationship blossoms between these two. In a very smart way, we've got a written message that only a certain somebody that knows how to read and write could read, calling out a freckled woman to stay behind. Thus, everyone else is kicked out, and we're left with the one person we want. The one person that could actually read the message. Now again, that side of Mao Mao, the one that wants to stay hidden and just do her job and get on with her life, that's being tested right now. She became involved. She did too much. But again, it was only on the basis of her passion for apothecary, right? Her passion for curing and diseases and that kind of thing, that she wanted to actually give out some good information. That's the thing that drew her in. As I talked about, the two sides of that character. She tries to play it up here. I looked at your records, it said you couldn't read. Clearly you're lying. This character that wants to pretend they know nothing versus the character that does know things. Why does this guy care? He's got too much time on his hands. All will be revealed very shortly. There's a nice moment here for Mao Mao as she walks up the stairs and opens the door to the room. We see little baby. Little baby is happy and healthy. I actually helped. So it's a nice, like, she catches her breath a little bit. She's like, oh, I did something. That's nice. Like that. Yeah, that look. Oh, shit. That's not how she looked before. Yeah, I'm so glad. And then it's like, so you are. We put it all together. Nice moment. I like that. Yeah, Ling Li is what we call her. Yeah, gotcha. I don't know where I got the X from. So even after all of this, she still tries to say, no, you got the wrong person. You're making a mistake. You already proved it early in the scene that you knew who this was and what you did. I'd hate to get beheaded for contradicting her, but but I really don't want to be involved. And then, yeah, we put it all together. This is from your uniform. You wrote this. You can read and write. It's from a maidservant. You fit the description. I saw you walking away saying, I need to write something. Like, hook, line, and sinker, we gotcha. And then here we go, right? She's finally cornered. She realizes that they know that she did it. Why did you do it? Why did you leave that on the flower branch, on the rhododendron, on that particular branch? Why did you write that? Why did you leave that there that night? And then from there, the sun comes in behind her. More contrast between the light and the dark, hiding in the shadows. existing in the light, showing your true talents, that kind of thing, right? I did it because I found out the truth behind the incidents. It was caused by the white face powder. In the pleasure district where I grew up, there were many courtesans who used expensive powder. Now, I kind of want to Google white powder historical China, kind of. Yeah, I can't find anything in my cursory Googling, but I'm sure this is based on some element of history, and I would like to learn more. So sure, what the specific poisoning even was, what was in it that was causing the toxicity, I guess. So either way, from a very young age, Mao Mao was exposed to the dangers of this white powder. I'd imagine this is the old lady from earlier as well. They weighed their lives against beauty and ended up losing both their beauty, because they, become gaunt and kind of pale and sickly, right? But also end up losing their lives. Again, some amount of tragedy of that, even from the lowest levels of class, right? Not that where she was the absolute lowest, but it was lower than the palace. Like every part of society needed to use this white powder, supposedly, because of some portion of beauty standards. Something will be explored with your character, I'm sure. It seems like there may even be a personal bend to it. She grabs onto her arm here, specifically, right? And then thinks to whoever this person is as well. But we only see it briefly. And then she starts to reveal more information about herself as an apothecary and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's more to your backstory. I want to know where your parents are. I want to know what your family situation is. I want to know why you're, hanging around with courtesans and stuff. How you became an apothecary's apprentice. That's why you know so much about poisons. So you specifically didn't use the powder, but your wet nurse did. And then the wet nurse was also ill. She went on leave. But then the baby must have gotten into the white powder as well. Ignorance is sin. I should have kept a closer watch on what my child puts in her mouth. I guess she was just playing and found something toxic. I should have as well. If we realized this, we could have saved many lives, even those in the Eastern Palace. After finding this letter, I told Consort Liha about this as well. She didn't listen to me based on the element of mistrust. Like, she's probably trying to poison or curse me again. Like, that's what she thought, So obviously, ignorance is sin. That kind of theme coming back through again. Even applying that ignorance is sin to Mao Mao's character up to now, if what she's doing at the start, where she's just kind of burying her head in the sand, is that not ignorance? Where she's just kind of ignoring her own talents, ignoring the goings-on of the palace, and just trying to coast by? That's ignorance, right? And again, really highlighting the flower here, this symbol of the warning and not heeding the warning. Either way, it seems like Mao Mao isn't clued in. What should I do now? These two both smile at each other. You're now going to be my attendant. You've been promoted, essentially. You're now one of my elite employees. That old meme? What Mao Mao can't hold back is her curiosity and her appetite for knowledge. We saw this applied during the episode. And now that has gotten her a bit of a promotion. Seems like we've got a narrator as well on the show, which is nice. And then yabai. I actually didn't want this. The other side of my personality coming through. The one that wanted to just coast by. And yeah, this is how Mao Mao became a lady-in-waiting for the Emperor's beloved consort Gyokyo. In other words, she got a promotion. Hooray! And again, that one step closer to the Emperor, super important to the Emperor's court and that kind of thing. And again, the kind of thing at the very end here, seems like there's some poisoning on the Li front lines. I don't know what this means yet, but something to watch for next week. And then, yeah, into the ED. ED is pretty simple. I don't think I need to talk about it very much. Just kind of her floating through the air past various herbs and flowers. Very apothecary type beat. A lot of pollen coming through as well. There's a next time on, but we won't really look at it. We'll leave that for next week, of course. Just kind of getting more involved with the promotion that she has to becoming, again, lady-in-waiting for one of the Emperor's favorite wives, put it that way. So yeah, after going back through the episode, it's definitely more understandable. It is a little bit information overloady. So yeah, I guess keep that in mind going forward, that these kind of segments are really going to be plot recappy, just kind of figuring out what's going on. I like the character of Mao Mao. I like the two different sides of her and how they're contrasted. I think the political intrigue here is interesting thus far, but we're interested to see it evolve as well as we continue. What else? What else even happened? Just getting more involved in the characters. Seems very story-based instead of character-based. Once I get more involved in the story and the goings-on there, it'll really hit its stride, I reckon. But a good opener. Good. Not great. Good, I would say. But yeah, keen for more next week. If you're watching this publicly, there should be on Patreon the next 2 episodes I'm planning on doing next week. So, hey, the world's your oyster. If you want to access that right now, you can. If not, you can talk about me or talk about the show with me on Discord, if I can even speak, subscribe to the channel. We're in this thing for the long haul, of course. Like the video because it always helps. And leave a funny comment and I'll try to respond. I don't know, man. I'm doing the YouTube thing. I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching thus far, though. Bye-bye. See ya.